This week on the show, we're recapping Jeff Keighley's big summertime game bash, and I'm dressed for the occasion. Plus, we've got to talk about how apparently all the agents in Hollywood are just taking this week off. And I've got to catch you guys up on the first ever Nerdigo true crime documentary coming soon about a Lego Mormon police scandal that we don't even have time to describe it now. All that plus the week's top stories on our reviews of the Backrooms. It's time for Nerdigo News. Bruno, do the thing. Welcome to Nerdigo News, the only entertainment podcast that is talking this week about how Henry Cavill needs a new agent. I'm Riley Trahan, senior entertainment editor of Nerdigo Media, and as always, I am joined by my co-hosts Deepak Chitnis.
Help, I'm trapped in a liminal space and I can't get out.
Producer Bruno Meneses.
I kind of want to keep exploring, I'm not going to lie.
And officially in official recognition that the entire podcast has outlived the 27 curse, celebrating his birthday this week, it's Jackson Trahan.
It's glad to be here. I'm happy to be able to die tragically young anymore.
Well, you had
too old to die young.
That's the problem, yeah. Jack, is that when we started the podcast, by the time I was 27, we didn't have enough creative output. Now we've achieved so much, is sort of what I'm saying. You kind of are.
So you're saying I have one more day to really seal this thing.
Your 27 is his 33.
I was just worried, I guess what I'm trying to say is the tragedy about some of those figures, your Jimi Hendrix's, your Janis Joplin's, your Kurt Cobain, is that they were so tremendously productive artistically before they were 27 that by the time they died so young, we really kind of had a sense of who they were. When we started this podcast, I hadn't really made a name for myself, so I wasn't at a tremendous risk of dying tragically young.
Right.
But Jack,
I see.
Has changed the internet really through his presence on this podcast and his major contributions. So I was really worried.
Well, yeah, we're glad to. I mean, one more day. So let's not talk too big a game.
I always think it's good to start off comedy news podcasts by talking about tragic death.
Extensively about your little brother dying.
Yeah. I agree. This week we're going to be talking about all sorts of Hollywood scuttlebutt and people we think could be doing better. I also have to catch the guys up on some Lego news that has taken the internet by storm. But where would we be if we weren't starting off the summer by catching up with our good buddy Jeff Keighley, who took to the stage this week, Jackson, to let us all know about all the great games that are coming to not the Steam store.
It's not enough for him to make us watch him once a year.
No, yeah, the man needs attention. So I would love for us to talk a little bit about Jeff. I'd love for us to talk I'm not joking. I would love to talk a little bit about the politics of sort of what seemed to be Keighley and Newell asserting themselves as the two towers of the modern video game industry. And then I would also like to talk about the games that came out, because some of them I'm quite excited for.
Yeah, so it is summer back in the long ago, by which I mean before 2020. Summer meant the Electronic Entertainment Expo, or E3, would be going on. Which was,
you guys remember E3?
Yep.
Just sort of an unofficial convention it was an official convention, an unofficial place for games and studios to make a lot of their biggest announcements for the year. E3 doesn't happen anymore for a lot of reasons, but a lot of people still like to make their announcements during the summer. And so basically ever since E3 is closed down, like a rabid predator, Jeff Keighley pounced and produced the Summer Games Fest as a sort of workaround presentation to make these announcements. Some companies will still do their own thing. Nintendo most famously does their directs and usually does a bigger one in the summer. But
so
in particular, PlayStation tends to show up most for the Summer Game Fest.
I was just going to interject and say, for anybody who, every episode of Nerdigo News is somebody's first episode of Nerdigo News. And if this is your first episode, you should make sure you like and subscribe. But also, if this is your first episode, you might not know who Jeff Keighley is.
Wouldn't you be blessed?
So
I have been on this show for a number of years. I do not remember who Jeff Keighley is.
So Jeff is Jack's mortal nemesis. But
he's a video game journalist who has sort of tried very hard and successfully positioned himself.
He has sort of Yeah, he has sort of inceptioned the video game industry into thinking of him as its greatest personality. When in fact he was like a Spike TV host in the early 2000s, and now some like the Game Awards. D-Back, you know, every year at the end of the year, Jack talks about the Game Awards.
Yeah.
Jeff Keighley runs the Game Awards.
Yeah, that's
At
normally
some
where I
point-
have to encounter.
So
Jeff
he's a
once
journalist
year,
who runs the highest, like the biggest award in the industry.
basically.
At some point, he
He's the
decided that
host.
he decided that he was the Ryan Seacrest of the
He's
video
like
game
the
world,
Ryan
and
Seacrest.
nobody
He's the
fought
real
him
Ryan
on it.
And everyone was just like, sure, man, go for it. And now somehow he has just amassed power in a
But
way.
why does that irk Jack so much?
Because I don't like how he runs his shows.
It irks a lot of people. It irks me.
I wouldn't
Why
say
did you
he's
why
the
did you let this happen?
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is the thing. This is sort of what we all now realize is that everybody, I think, at the listen, I don't want to say that Jeff Keighley is a Donald Trump-esque figure, but I think at the time,
Wow.
everybody thought, well, surely the norms will take care of this. How harmful could this possibly be? This guy doesn't really fit in with this group of people. How much power could he possibly amass? At worst, he'll be sort of a harmful little pest that shows up every once in a while. And then over the course of like 30 years, yeah, he now runs video games.
Well, he's
kind of
very
culturally.
he's got a particular vibe about him that irks me. But that's neither
The
here nor there.
Seacrest comparison is not a bad one. He is sort of a Seacresty type guy.
Hmm.
He runs a type of humor on stage that makes me go, "This is why people look at us weird."
I mean, yeah, he's also just
Yeah.
not funny.
And he's just such a star
I don't
fucker.
know.
I mean, to be totally transparent about it, like every time he gets like a video game person up on, like he's just clearly so like enamored of being close to like Hideo Kojima or whatever. And you're like, Jeff, we got to move on. We got a show to run here, bud.
But when his shows are actually announcing games are when I like them the most, and not when it's Jeff talking about his friends. And we got a few good announcements this year. So we did get a few big announcements from Summer Game Fest this year that I was going to run you guys through, see if you guys had any thoughts or feelings. So I've got a list here. Riley, I know you had some things that you wanted to hit in particular. I'm just going to go down, and if there's anything anyone want to talk about more extensively.
Well, so of course, Jack, I mean, you've been a part of my sort of unorthodox Final Fantasy VII journey, which began with Final Fantasy VII Remake, which isn't where most people accessed that series.
No,
but
perhaps not, but
they announced that Revelation, the sort of part 3 that's going to close up that remake trilogy, is going to be coming out next spring. So that was pretty exciting for me. I don't know that I had a lot of like insight into it, but just in terms of the titles announced, I think that was the one.
yeah, I mean, that's the biggest excitement for me, for sure, is what stupid title are they going to give the third part of this remake trilogy?
Yep. They committed to a style, and unlike the Assassin's Creed trilogy that sort of ran out of steam after Origins and Odyssey, they did manage to come up with a third RE based word for their remake. So it was the first one was Final Fantasy VII Remake. The second one was Final Fantasy VII Revolution, Rebirth. And then this third one is Final Fantasy VII Revelation. And sort of the idea of this remake is it's sort of been a sort of like cockeyed remake. Like it's a remake that's sort of weirdly self-aware that it's a remake, and some things aren't happening the way they happened in the original, and the characters seem almost put off by that change in events. So I assume that the Revelation in question will sort of be telling us what the hell's been going on in this game the whole time.
Yeah, well, that it does make sense. I did have some personal stakes on what name they were going to choose ever since they've started this whole thing. But I do think, I don't know, the ending of the second of these 3 games did leave some particularly interesting questions about how the plot is going to continue and how much it's going to align to the original story and where it's going to diverge. It seems like this third game will probably diverge pretty strongly.
The third one could be absolutely nuts. Yeah, it could be sort of nothing like the original.
So that, I mean, that's exciting. It's, I think, more exciting maybe than just a pure remake. I do think Final Fantasy VII is my favorite of the Final Fantasies.
And can I say to our audience in this, our video game, so we don't usually lead off with video game news. So if you just joined, if you hopped in here, you're getting the video game news, you're a video game person, you're out of here after the video game stuff, Jack and I have talked about in the past. I've never played Final Fantasy VII. I have only played the remake games,
Oh,
and
interesting.
and so I have no idea how it ends because I've only
Mhm.
played the first two sort of thirds of it. If you would be interested in me doing like a Twitch stream series where I play Final Fantasy VII OG before the third of these remakes come out, leave us a comment, get in touch with us on social. We're at Nerdigo Media on everything. If there is an audience for that, I would be very happy to do it. But I don't know that I want to do it if nobody's interested.
That kind of answers a question that I was gonna ask to both of you, where like I haven't played any like Final Fantasy games, period. And I was going to ask if I can just jump into the remake of Final Fantasy VII, or if it's gonna be confusing to me.
So
Oh, sure, absolutely.
my experience is you definitely can. You'll be confused, but I think that confusion is also sort of part of what the game's going.
Like intentional.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, certainly the fact that it's the 7th game shouldn't intimidate you. Each of the games are usually...
No, I don't mean like because of like it's not happening the same way that the original Final Fantasy VII happened.
Yeah,
Do I need to
even
play
then,
the
I
original
think you'd
first?
probably be fine. There is some,
Okay.
like I said, things are strange. You'd probably be more confused if you did know the original story, frankly.
Oh,
Fair
well,
enough.
yeah, and you will be able to tell, I would say, again, based on my experience, you'll be able to tell like when something isn't going the way it went in the original game. And you'll be like,
Gotcha.
something's afoot. But, you might not have the context. This is why I was thinking I'd be interested in playing that original one. But,
Okay.
all right, Jack.
Well, it's way short.
Podcast about
You
lists.
should, get to it when you can. Last week, I believe, Riley, you and I were talking about how much we liked 007 First Light.
Yes, sir.
We did get announced a new story mission. Was announced where you as Bond team up with Lenny Kravitz as Pirate King Bavma
Perfect.
to help him do some shady shit. So that's exciting. I mean, it makes sense, I guess, that Bavma was sort of very hyped up at the Game Awards in December, and then didn't have a super prominent part in the narrative of the game. So using him more makes sense.
Jack, were
And
you very
more
interested
First Light
in...
makes me happy.
Well, I definitely agree that more First Light will be perfect. I can't wait for more First Light. I'm wrapping up the main campaign now. I think I'm basically where you were, Jack, when you said I'm getting towards the end. It seems very cinematic. I feel like I'm sort of... I imagine this is exactly what you were dealing with. But I'm just loving every minute of it. So more of that game, and not opposed to, especially because did this news make it to either of our non-First Light players this week? Amazon, for some reason, announcing that IOI will just not be involved in the sequels. They're taking it in-house to the old Amazon
necessarily
publication
clear
studio.
what...
Did they say that?
I don't think that's necessarily what they said. I think the most likely thing is that Amazon is going to publish the games going forward, because IOI has been self-publishing for a little while.
Oh,
That makes more sense. But I mean, what is that? Have they said anything about creative input or?
Yeah,
like
I mean,
that?
that's the question. How much they meddle with development will be interesting, and I think will be more concerning. But yes, Amazon did announce that because the deal for First Light was made before Amazon acquired the IP, that that structure would not necessarily hold going forward, and that Amazon would be more involved in the game's presumed sequels.
It's
They
just,
gotta
I
make him
do
look like
wonder if
Jacob
that
Elordi.
means. Well, that's the thing. I do wonder if going forward they now make him look like whoever they end up casting, and if you own the game digitally, not physically, you will get a reskin and you will like it.
you'll get it either way. Don't worry. This happened with Spider-Man. This
That's
happened.
Oh, did it?
I've been
That kind of happened to Spider-Man.
the whole joke
Yeah.
I've been making about in those Sony Spider-Man games, they came out, they were
Mhm.
good. People had opinions. They felt like maybe they had been promised a graphical rendering quality that not all users were experiencing. Then Sony put out like a higher res version of it,
Remaster, yeah.
and the character model was just completely different. And
Yeah.
so I've been sort of joking that a la Sonic with teeth,
Yeah.
that poor young ugly Peter Parker has actually finally gotten work again as James Bond in 007 First Light. That he's been out of work for so long, but I've been really happy to see that he got recast. And so it's going to be really funny to me if he then gets the Peter Parker treatment. And yeah, he has to look like Jacob Elordi or whoever in the new movies.
Wouldn't surprise me at all, because if they're already doing video games, they're going to want that to be synergized with the movies the way they were through the Brosnan era and part of the Craig era. So I
completely
know
agree
that the
with-
First Light people have said that they like the freedom of being able to just like make whoever without being beholden to Daniel Craig or whatever. But yeah,
and it's good. I think it works really well. But that's the thing is this whole story. And then Jack, I promise we will do a podcast about lists and talk about Summer Game
You're fine.
Fest. But like part of the whole thing of this story is that like Amazon stepping on the exact rake that every fucking entertainment conglomerate steps on these days of like, we've got to do everything. We also have to make video games. And it's like, no, you don't. You can make successful video games of your IP and just take 70% of the profit, but 70% isn't good enough for them. So like they're going to in-house these games. And like we've seen what Amazon games look like. They're bad. People don't want to play them.
Why I was curious about where the creative direction is coming from, because if Amazon just wants to keep it in-house for financial purposes and corporate synergy, but is letting creative decisions be driven by IOI, again, I haven't played First Light yet, but by all indications, it's very good. Let them keep doing that. I don't think they're going to.
Yeah,
I
agree.
trust that they will not. They're not private equity. They will not suck the life out of something that is viable. They will just keep a good thing going.
I think it's a story to watch, but yeah, as you say, we won't know for a long time. Jack,
but they did sort of soft confirm that sequels are coming. Sorry, right?
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's. I mean, this thing has done so well. I would be shocked if they didn't.
I'm planning to get
They've
it
also
soon.
said Amazon said in a clarifying statement, because I guess their first statement did come off as maybe too hostile to IOI. So they did later say Amazon MGM holds the rights to any future James Bond video games, but it's still too early to discuss future projects. We have a great relationship with IO Interactive, and we're proud of what we've accomplished together. Our partners at IO will reveal more about 007 First Light in the near future, and we're looking forward to sharing what's next.
To Deepak's point, we can do it together. We give them the title and the rights and the ability to do it, and they give us the money. We do it together. Jack, were you excited about Resident Evil Veronica?
I mean, yeah. I guess that's probably not very convincing, huh? I
No.
mean, I don't think it was
But I
as
think that
excited as maybe.
It's as convincing as that first Amazon statement.
I think that we just captured on camera basically the reaction I feel like everyone had to Resident Evil Veronica.
Well,
I
the
mean, is
people
it
who were there seemed very excited.
Hey, how about that?
so? Was it a remake announcement or a remaster announcement? Because I couldn't really get that. I didn't really.
I thought it was
they
a
weren't too
remaster.
clear.
I didn't look at it closely, but I thought it was a remaster.
Yeah, so Resident Evil Code Veronica came out in 2000 for the Dreamcast.
Hey, pour one out.
Jeez, I almost bought a Dreamcast yesterday. No shit.
Yesterday?
Yes.
Now, how did you come to be?
You were like, I need to play Veronica.
Yeah, how did you?
I was just in a vintage game store and it was just there for like $60, and I was like, huh?
$60 for a
You
Dreamcast?
should have bought a Dreamcast for $60, bro. You
No,
fucked up.
60 is way too much.
I definitely think you
Not
should have.
each their own.
$10.
It does seem to be a remake. I
Yeah.
mean, it's neat. I'm sure if people played the game, that this is like a crazy announcement that you would have never expected. But I'm just not the hugest Resident Evil fan.
Just really felt like sort of bottom of the barrel of we have to remake the games culture.
They're
Well,
running
they're
out.
capitalizing
things to
on
remake.
the obvious thing coming out in a couple months, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
More exciting in the horror genre for me is Control Resonant,
Yes.
sequel to Control.
Control
Part of
Resident
the-
Evil.
Very weird, spooky game. That's,
Also part of the Alan Wake series.
Yeah.
maybe sort of kind of takes place in the same universe as Alan Wake.
Having played all three of those games, I think I love the Alan Wake games. I really, really thought that Control was something special. Once I could get it running on my console, let's not forget that was that
It's
game.
Right.
a good-looking game.
It's beautiful. So frustrating to me that they made the decision to gender swap the character in this sequel. I know it's the brother. I know that supposedly it's going to reveal more mythos to us that the brother was like privy to during the first game that maybe took place off camera or whatever. But just feels like kind of the standard like gamers can't have a game about a girl bullshit or whatever.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna have to replay the first one just to like.
Well, it'll be
remember
good. Yeah,
everything.
no. Last time you tried to play it, you probably crashed your whole system trying to like load the first screen because they hadn't optimized anything. So yeah, no, you'll be good now. Now it'll fly. Cuphead sequel that we didn't get a proper trailer for because it has to be hand animated. So it's a big puppety Cuphead sequel.
Well, it's sort of a different genre, I believe.
I love how they announced that.
Yeah. So Deepak, Cuphead is a hand animated video game. So because they couldn't, or I guess didn't have the resources, or just maybe thought this would be funny to have a hand animated trailer, instead they had like a cup newsman puppet broadcaster,
Like a Muppet sort of.
like a
Very
Muppet
Muppet-like.
that looked like a cup, who was there to tell you that they had begun working on a Cuphead sequel and it was going to
But
be hand animated.
There's multiple Cupheads already, isn't there?
Well, there's
Or
a
is there-
Netflix show.
Yeah.
But is it really only one game from like 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh,
and
wow.
really, I mean, this one does strike me more as a spin-off than a direct sequel, where it's more
Mhm.
platforming.
Well, I think-
I guess the
think-
first one was a platformer. I don't know.
I think what it is that it was a weird announcement, but I think they announced 2 games. I think they announced that they're working on a sequel, and then they announced this like
Oh,
little
maybe.
pixelated spinoff.
That would
Yeah.
make sense also. But yeah, I mean, it seems cute. Those games are brutal, but if you like really difficult platforming, then I'm sure you'll love this.
Yep.
I remember you guys talking about it when it came out.
It was good. It was really, I think
Also-
especially at the time, it was a real breath of fresh air in a video game space that felt so homogenized.
Just the whiplash during the award show of just going from a very cinematic horror-esque
Alien
Code
Isolation.
Veronica and then go straight into Muppets, and then from there going straight into Alien Isolation.
Yeah, we did get Alien Isolation 2 as well, which is sort of a surprising recent announcement. But
I don't know that I like that
I mean, we
title.
didn't really get any gameplay or anything still. I think that game's forever away. It looked
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest other thing was probably Crossfire. Did you see anything?
Yeah,
Possible.
Crossfire I thought was really interesting. So isn't that the team that originally developed Assassin's Creed?
So I think
Or no,
That's
sorry.
No Moon has like a lot of
Right.
old
Yes,
team
pardon me.
members.
No,
from,
That's No
like,
Moon
Naughty
is the
Dog and
crew that
Infinity
did,
Ward and Bungie.
Yeah, Call of Duty. They have a bunch of former. Yes, I'm getting my veteran development teams confused. But no, I thought that Crossfire looked really cool. I also thought that Gen Atlas looked really cool
Oh yeah,
from the Shadow,
Yeah.
the Colossus creator, Jack. I expected
Yeah,
that to be on
that's-
your list. I felt
I
like
forgot about that. But yes,
I felt like them young ones are about to learn what Fumito can do to them. You know, everybody's
Yes,
gonna be
I
crying
absolutely
about
adore
these giant
all of his
monsters.
games, especially the ones about big things, and I'm glad to see him back in his wheelhouse.
Right.
Making a game about sad big things.
I
This
also
one did
want to
seem
call.
more, like traditionally action oriented than a lot of his games are. A lot of his games have an incredibly, I mean, again, they're about big things, but they have an incredibly
Right.
slow pace to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I will be intrigued to see how he does this like faster paced traditional shooter action. But big mech stuff looks great.
Should we tell Deepak about how woke came for Stranger Than Heaven?
Sure.
So Deepak, there's this series called Like a Dragon,
Okay.
and it's a third-person sort of like martial arts combat franchise. And
Okay.
in the new series Stranger Than Heaven, unfortunately, woke has ruined them because they have a couple of new DEI hires on the squad.
So-
Snoop Dogg and Tupac have
I mean,
both
yeah,
joined
that's-
the crew.
That is the headline.
I feel like the
and
bigger
Tupac.
headline is that Tupac. is
Tupac
working.
back from the grave to do judo.
Also,
That's
in a video
that
game.
he woke.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
you
okay.
woke right up.
Let's all
Yeah.
calm down.
They brought up Snoop Dogg on stage to explain this,
Yeah.
and he did say that he worked on this in close collaboration with his son and Tupac's estate, which makes me think. So, do you mean Snoop Dogg's son or Tupac's son? And is that quote unquote son the one playing Tupac in the game?
I like how they describe the estate as a person. We worked very closely with the estate. He was in the studio with us.
I actually
Yeah.
thought that the moment that Jeff Keighley and Snoop Dogg were talking about Stranger Than Heaven on stage might have been the time we were most at risk of Jack not making it past the 27 curse.
So the Like a Dragon franchise used to be called the Yakuza franchise.
Yakuza, like the Japanese underworld.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
I like to describe it as like if like a Yakuza movie was interrupted by an episode of Looney Tunes every 15 minutes because
Yeah.
all of the regular
some
plot
like
in
that.
those games
They are very silly.
Well,
I
like the
love
regular
these games.
is very serious, but like all the side missions are absurd, and
You have to like fight a pirate.
It's very
Stranger Than
anime-esque,
Heaven is
what I
like
would
back
say.
rooms.
historical. Stranger
Look
Than
at that.
Heaven is a historical period piece in the Like a Dragon franchise that takes place
Right.
many years ago, and indeed, as Riley perhaps buried the lead on, it
Almost
does feature
deliberately.
such physical talents as Snoop Dogg and Tupac. And they did say that they had a special guest to come talk about it. And for a moment, everyone did believe that Tupac was going to come out on
I mean,
stage.
yeah,
Yeah.
ever since the Tupac hologram, we're all living with Tupac like trigger and PTSD.
But no, it was just
it's
Snoop.
gonna be Biggie. They're gonna announce that.
That would be so funny.
Can you imagine?
So funny. What am I even talking about? Yeah, that would be insane. Reality would be over. Just one more
It already
martial arts
is.
game I want to make sure we hit before we get out of here, Jack, is of course the first Paramount Studios game.
Yes,
Yes,
of course.
sir.
How could I forget? Well, because it wasn't much of a trailer, but we did get the first announcement from Paramount Studios, and in collaboration with Platinum Games, who are a good fit for this game, I think. We are getting the Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin video game. Platinum Studios may be most famous for works like Bayonetta and Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, which famously had a game mechanic where you could cut up basically anything in the level in tiny, tiny pieces dynamically with your sword. So I do think that these guys will be well suited to. I mean, it might be a little, I don't know, not moody enough. They don't do a lot of emotional moments. Maybe super great. But
So
I'm sure
I think
it'll
we
be
heard a few months
fun.
ago that they were doing Last Ronin as a movie, and then it got kind of canned. And then Rogan had
Right.
said maybe they're still working on it. So is this now the repurposed version of that? They're doing it as a video
Could
game.
be.
It's possible. We really don't know very much. We got basically this and that, like what I have said and the title.
Maybe Rogan didn't say it, but the original writer or someone had
Yes,
said that.
no, there was some pushback on like, hey, just because
Yeah.
this has changed leadership doesn't mean we're totally out on live action.
I think we can connect the dots there.
Yeah.
We have definitely been expecting a new Ninja Turtles game announcement for a while.
I think
And
Last
with-
Ronin remains.
But we've already got all the dev work done
Right.
here. Why
Well,
don't we just
Yeah, and when the trailer started, like it was very obvious that it was a Ninja Turtles game. It was just a little bit. It was more of a surprise that it was Last Ronin when they dropped the title at the end.
Yes.
Well, it
but
helps Paramount also because they're further down the road than they would be if they were starting from scratch. So
Yeah,
that's the thing. I think Last Ronin is going to be one of the things that they continue to circle for a while. Like they want to crack that the way, DC has figured out how to make every Batman, the Dark Knight Returns Batman, right? Like they see Last Ronin as a potential avenue for the Turtles, not just as a title, but as like an entire rebranding of Turtles.
the dark, gritty reboot that's 15, 20 years too late. Yeah.
Right. Well, but see, now we're lampooning it a little bit, aren't we? We're having fun with it. See, we're being silly. We don't actually, if it was actually dark and gritty, that'd be one thing you could make fun of us for, but it's not. We're having fun with it.
Last
Jack,
Ronin is how you make live action Turtles work.
Anything else you want to hit before we get out of here? We could talk Star Wars games.
Oh, I mean, yeah. How could I forget Star Wars Galactic Racer?
Mm-hmm.
Not Pod Racer.
Not, I mean, cooler vibe, but less maybe restricted to a track, more space stuff.
Boo.
I think it'll. Deepak's like, keep me on that desert.
Hold on, I'm checking to see if Quadraneros is involved.
I mean, I believe this.
Oh, I'm sending you something right now.
Yeah, no, this is the same game, Deepak. This is the one you were talking about earlier. It's just in space now. He can't.
Yeah, it's
okay,
just, again,
why
they don't
pulling
want
up
to exclusively have you race on one desert track on a slave planet, so they maybe expanded it out a little bit. Pod racing has been doing well for itself in the new age, I guess.
And then there was the Zero.
I don't know.
Company
I mean, it
game as
looks
well.
fun. It looks like a racing game. We're maybe a little spoiled for choice on racing games presently, so it's interesting timing, but not
That's
for
true.
Star Wars racing games.
No. And I would take more. Like I said, I've been having a great time in the Star Wars Outlaws universe. So more Star Wars video games, I'm very much here for. Deepak sending Tony Soprano screaming in this house. Ben Quadraneros is a hero. Bruno, that's
End of story.
that's in the Discord. We'll make sure we pop that on the video.
Yes.
Cool. We'll take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to do our Hollywood scuttlebutt stuff. And we are back, and our two Hollywood reporters have some classic LA style goss for us, guys. You're hitting the trades. What are you seeing?
So it was announced this week. I'm going to pull up the specifics because they're almost too incredible to believe. And we run a professional show over here. Henry Cavill has been cast in an untitled spy action comedy from director McG, who is most famous for getting screamed at by Christian Bale on the infamous Terminator Salvation audio.
Was that him?
Jesus Christ.
Yep, no, sorry. Christian Bale was yelling at the cinematographer Shane Hurlbut. But he was yelling to McG, the director, about the cinematographer being in a shot.
Right.
The movie is untitled, and it is Henry Cavill starring with Kevin Hart. This got me thinking about the fact that Henry Cavill badly needs a new agent. Not that long ago, the man was Superman, and obviously his movies as Superman were not the most popular and did not engender a tremendous amount of goodwill with the public. But I think despite people's thoughts about the movies, people generally liked him. Of course, everyone points to Man from U.N.C.L.E. as like the big break as far as like, oh, he can do a lot more than just look stoic in a red cape.
Right.
And since then, the Witcher thing didn't work out. He's been festering with Warhammer for quite some time. Well, The Witcher worked out, I think, for a couple seasons until he decided that it didn't, right? And then he got replaced with Thor Jr.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Let's just take a step back. Let's just do it real quick.
Yeah.
2002 to 2007, basically nothing of note. He does a Count of Monte Cristo, which isn't bad if you can have the opportunity to check it out.
That's the old one with Caviezel. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
He does with Tristan and Isolde. He's in Stardust. He's always surprising to me when he shows up in Stardust when I watch Stardust once every
He's in that Larry David, Woody Allen movie also, whatever.
Yeah. So he's making a name for himself. He's making, to Deepak's point, I think we should go into this considering the moves, right?
He breaks out in like The Tudors, didn't he?
He was in The Tudors. So he was like he was like a whatever. He's a working actor, up and coming, doing small character roles, whatever. And he's the same way pretty much everyone comes up in the industry.
Yeah. So he does all that stuff that I just listed off. He from 2007 to 2010, he does The Tudors, and then coming out of The Tudors, he basically slots straight into Man of Steel. There's a little bit of time in between there, but like you can imagine, he comes off of Tudors and enters the DC pre-production universe, right?
Right.
Then he
was also, by the way, already in that amount of time that we just described, he was the runner-up for the Pattinson role in Twilight and Daniel Craig in Casino Royale.
Yeah, he was going to be James Bond. He was one of those guys that was always circling a big thing like that. And what he gets is Superman for the Zack Snyder Superman. We all know now, with the benefit of hindsight, that didn't turn into the thing that they wanted it to be. Right. We can remember the Snyder sort of universe promise. Here's how this is going to be our MCU thing. He was supposed to basically be the Robert Downey Jr. of that universe.
Right.
We could all see the House of Cards falling apart there pretty quickly. He does Man from U.N.C.L.E. People go, oh, this is actually a really good fit, really. And I think that's where some of the confusion starts to happen.
So 2015 is Man from U.N.C.L.E. 2015 is also the year Spectre comes out, when Daniel Craig makes the famous comment in the interview saying he'd rather slash his wrists than do another Bond movie. So there is talk that Daniel Craig is probably done. Cavill has just done Man from U.N.C.L.E. The Idris Elba thing is swirling around, but people are going, if you're not going to choose the black man, Hank's right there.
And then 2018, he puts the mustache on. Right. He basically is, I'll do it myself. Let me be in a spy movie anyway.
He reloads his arms.
He does the cool arm reload. And I think like this is the thing. I think Cavill's career has constantly had these moments of duality, right? Doing Man of Steel and Man from U.N.C.L.E. is like, oh, you could go down either of these paths, but maybe you have to choose and maybe you haven't decided yet. Right.
Yeah,
and then,
that's a good point.
And then sort of doing Justice League and Mission Impossible at the same time. And like the fact that Justice League, I mean, this is maybe a Whedon problem more than it is a Cavill problem, but that like we all think of Justice League as like they took out the mustache, right? Like that's what we think of when we think of Cavill and Justice League. And just since then, he hasn't like that duality, I think, has been haunting him, right? Like I'm not going to be The Witcher anymore. I'm all in on being Superman. Oh, what's that? I've been fired as Superman. Oh, you know what? I don't even need Hollywood anymore. I'm just going to make my Warhammer movie. Oh, what's that? No one wants to finance my Warhammer movie. Okay, I guess I'll go back to doing kind of weird sideways Guy Ritchie spy movies if that's what he'll find, right? Like
Well,
he needs
Yeah.
a thing. He needs
I
like
think the thing is right now is that like he is very interested in just doing a lot of like nerdy slash geeky stuff, and
Mhm.
he is taking
Mhm.
everything else as just like paychecks to like push him on that way there. Like he already has a good collaboration with Guy Ritchie, so he's going to keep doing Guy Ritchie movies. He had one that just came out recently, and
Into
he
the
has
Gray. Yeah.
he
Gyllenhaal.
has Voltron coming out soon. He has Highlander coming out soon. So I think he
Mhm.
really just wants to keep collecting these like nerdy IPs like under his belt.
yeah, it's interesting. Maybe he does feel like this is the he's doing the
Well,
thing that
or
he just said.
or
Like,
it's just
this is
it's
his
spraying
shtick.
bullets at a franchise, bullseye target, trying to see what you're going to hit. One of these is going to hit and become a thing that makes sequel after sequel, and then that's a recurring paycheck
Well,
and free trips to Comic-Con and all that.
you can compare him to either Pattinson or Craig, right? Both those guys have had the reliable thing, right? Like Pattinson had Twilight and Craig
Right.
had Bond.
Now he's got Batman. Yeah. Well,
and
they're not
both of those
reliable. Yeah.
both of those things have allowed them, like that's real money
Mhm.
that has allowed them to do their weird goofy shit on the side, right?
Yeah.
Like Craig can cameo as a stormtrooper in episode 7 and then make up a detective character with Ryan Johnson, right? And
Yeah, which became its
and-
own franchise. After
which
that.
became its own thing, but that wasn't the
Yeah.
plan when he started doing
Right.
that. And same with Pattinson, like he's just off doing these goofy little art films, and then somebody's like, do you want to be the Batman? And he's like, yeah, sure, why not? But
Right.
I don't think Cavill has I guess I don't know if like Cavill's success as Superman in those like 2.5 movies were, or maybe like 3.5 movies is the proper way of saying it, given this release the Snyder cut in my measurement of movie count. But like, I don't know if he has that money, or does he need something? Is he like out here trying to
No,
find a new main thing?
I mean, so part of it is strategic. Like, I think he is looking for a franchise. I think he's looking for something that he's passionate about, to what Bruno was saying with video games and nerdy IP. But at a certain point, like, he did sort of have the industry at his feet in 2013, 2014, because Man of Steel, despite what people thought about it, did do well commercially.
Yeah.
They knew they were going to launch a new DC universe, so Superman was going to be a big part of it, whether or not he got his own sequel. He could have done any number of things. I just think he has been steered the wrong way. It reminded me of Russell Crowe also doing a new movie called The Get Out, which looks like direct-to-video horse crap.
Mm-hmm.
He famously does not have an agent.
Is he playing like a big guy in that one?
Yeah, he's just he looks like he's probably playing a Russian drug dealer with a strip club and an office upstairs or something like that.
No, I just like how this is the stage of Russell Crowe's career where he's like, from now on, I only play guys who eat sandwiches. If you want to see me looking muscly and sexy, you can go watch Gladiator.
But that's the thing. Like he's a legitimately great actor. He's a legitimately great actor who just doesn't give a crap anymore. So I was going to ask you guys, the question is, like, my other recent person who has a lot of underutilized potential is Rosamund Pike, who should have blown up after Gone Girl and is now doing Now You See Me 3.
Right.
Who is an actor or actress for each of you who is like kind of a newer one, and even maybe like an older one who's like best days are behind them, supposedly? Like, who do you think is someone who is really underutilized and just like badly needs a new agent? Because with the reach that we have, especially with Jack having changed the internet forever,
that's
like, I think we can make things happen.
That's a great point. Yeah. So let me call out somebody who I think was a good example of this for a long time, who has recovered really gracefully. This is the model of correcting this problem, is Mr. Nicolas Cage, who we all know had massive tax problems in the early 2000s.
Shouldn't have been buying dinosaur heads.
Probably didn't need that pyramid tomb in retrospect, but whatever. He made the financial choices he made. Really got a reputation for doing some pretty low-grade direct-to-video stuff.
Bangkok Dangerous.
Immediately after having really built up his career by working with some of the most prestigious directors of his time, really just put all of that straight into the bucket, to the point that he was thought of as like an overactor who did bad movies that nobody asked for. And I don't like, he seems to have, just through like a series of choices, kind of corrected what the public reputation is about him, even if he still kind of is out there doing the Nick Cage thing, right? I think a big part of that.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, I think a big part of that was Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which, like, not everybody's going to be writing.
But he had movie star Pedro Pascal there with him.
He did, and that was a big part of it too. But like, I don't know if anybody's going to be writing a movie about Henry Cavill's like sort of public persona. Deepak, maybe this is an opportunity for us to pursue. Maybe we write the Henry Cavill unbearable weight of massive talent.
I'm all over it. I think the thing with Nicolas Cage is that he is genuinely not a good actor, and he
Wow.
had made so many bad movies over time that the Gen Z people ironically started becoming a fan of how bad he is, and that has somehow had the reverse effect of elevating him back. And of course, he was in the Spider-Verse movie, which always helps because that's the right.
Hey guys, we gotta cancel the
tide that
recording
lifted
now. We just gotta can it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you,
we
Bruno.
We just gotta can the whole thing.
We're going to go in a creative different direction. Last episode right here. I can't believe this injustice. But yeah, no.
We've talked about this.
This just in, Deepak Chitnis has been released.
Well, yeah, this just in bad movie opinions. Who didn't see that coming?
Yeah, it's not good.
Who's an actor who is in desperate need of correction here? Who do we need to change?
You've already spoken.
I think he's starting. I think he's starting. He's slowly starting to correct himself. I really hope is Miles Teller. Man was really supposed to break out after Whiplash, and then he just made some very big fumbles.
Fantastic Four right after it. That's what happened.
Exactly. That was the biggest fumble, and then ever since then, it doesn't seem like many people have been giving him that much of a chance.
Now that he's your hero and mine, John Branca, this will fix everything.
Okay, no, don't want to talk about that.
Maverick
do not want to talk about that. But yeah, he kind of got the shit end of the stick when it comes to Michael, because it does seem like that was supposed to be a two-man show between him and the star of the show before all of like the rewrites or changes or whatever happened. But last year he had Eternity that not that many people talked about with Elizabeth Olsen and Callum Turner, and I thought he was really good in that, because he was playing like an 80-year-old man trapped inside a 30-year-old man's body, and he was like, the way he emulated that was just very entertaining, like throughout the whole movie. But yeah, I'm really hopeful that Miles Teller is going to be getting back on the train soon. I'm still hopeful that he will show up in Secret Wars as the Maker, but that's me being too hopeful.
That would be cool.
It's not going to happen.
You are right, Bruno. It's well identified that like when The Gorge came out last year, it seemed more of an anomaly in the Teller trajectory,
right,
than it would have like a couple of years when it would have been like, oh, this is okay, I guess that's just game over on Teller, right?
And like, that was also entertaining, I will say. Like The Gorge was also
I've
like
heard
fun.
good things about that movie. Yeah,
between him and Anya Taylor-Joy, it was a fun time.
I use Apple TV, the machine, as my primary streaming device, and boy, it would not stop showing me the trailer for The Gorge. Just those two fucking Taylor Swift music videoing each other with signs from either end of The Gorge. I saw that every day for months. I couldn't bring myself to watch the actual movie. Jack, you got an answer on an actor who needs some help?
Probably not.
Jack, you have the greatest power, so choose wisely.
You are a tastemaker.
No, I wouldn't want to.
That's you don't want to weigh in and accidentally influence the outcome. I hear you. But this sort of does bring us to Bruno's story for the week. Bruno, do you want to talk about I guess yours isn't Hollywood scuttlebutt, it's London-based scuttlebutt, really.
Yeah, it's London / more doomsday scuttlebutt. So leading up to this past Tuesday, which is like right in the middle of the South by Southwest London Festival, the Russos, as well as like some of like the Marvel accounts, have been doing a lot of like job trying to anticipate some really big announcement. They had a lot of people online thinking that they would be showing the trailer at South by Southwest London and then hopefully publishing it online. The announcement actually ended up being a coffee shop pop-up, just with a bunch of like Doom branded coffee stuff.
The Doomsday Diner.
Exactly. Let me just pull up.
Is that what it's called?
I'll send in the Discord, and then I'll also just plug it into the feed later during the edit. There's this is just a post to the menu that they released, if anybody wants to take a look at it. It has some interesting things where it just calls out some fun little details from Doom's comic book history, which makes people wonder how comic accurate Doom is going to be in the Doomsday movie, which I don't think not at all. I think this was just Marvel just throwing out random stuff that was related
trying
to Doom.
To move product.
Exactly, Deepak. But then at least the Russos did go on stage at South by Southwest London to talk a little bit about Avengers Doomsday, where they're basically talking about how they're going back to phase 0 and a lot of people are wondering what does that mean. They also had Robert
Nothing.
Downey Jr. come on stage for a little bit, which just once again just reiterates this whole like shifting gears, going into a whole new direction for the MCU, and just like a fresh phase zero, which I guess means is just a confirmation of a reboot.
Yeah, I guess it means we're restarting.
Mhm. They said that they're moving right along with Doomsday. They unfortunately didn't have anything to show that today, but they were already working on pre-production of the movie titled Deepak Shitness Secret Wars.
It's not gonna
Avengers
be.
Secret Wars. Kids
Just
love
not gonna-
2 words. Secret War. Yeah, no, I am definitely expecting a trailer soon. I suppose at this point, Spider-Man is our next genuine hope for
Right.
seeing a single frame of this movie, either in trailer form or in post-credits form. I am the closer we listen. Do y'all remember Lion King? Right? You guys remember the
2019 masterpiece.
Oh, I was going to say there was a film from the 1990s, but yes, then it was remade in 2019. And do you remember how in the trailers for those movies, they sort of kept not showing us the lions talking? And like the closer and closer we got to the movie coming out, we kept not seeing the lions talking. And then finally we did see the lions talking, and we sort of went, uh-oh, this movie does not work at all. Robert Downey Jr., outside of his performances as Tony Stark, sort of has a penchant for a silly accent. I don't know if any of you have checked out such classics as
penchant for playing himself.
Well, but Doolittle is himself with a very silly accent.
Right.
Yeah.
Sherlock is himself with a very silly accent. I want to know what Victor Von Doom sounds like in this movie.
I have seen people like just try to like do impersonations of, and every time I listen to it, it makes me wonder if he's doing Doctor Strangelove.
The Doolittle.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. No, it's ridiculous. It's like Welsh or something. It's insane. So I'm like, it's his interpretation of Welsh too, because it's not like an authentic Welsh accent. Yeah. So I am excited to see what he brings to the table for this. All right, let me stretch out here a little bit, see if I can loop you guys in on this Lego bullshit. So,
Lego.
This story has been. We might have to bump Backrooms to a bonus.
I was about to say, are we still doing Backrooms?
Maybe we'll throw Backrooms opinions behind the paywall, and you, like our protagonist Chiwetel Ejiofor, my favorite American, can venture behind the Backrooms to find our opinions. So this story has been taking the internet by storm. There was a couple of fellas, a son and father, who had been Lego enthusiasts for years. They had built Star Wars Legos together. They had amassed quite a collection. And because 21st century America is a shithole, they had to sell them for some of their medical debts or something to this effect, if I remember the story correctly. And so we lay the land for what I'm about to explain to you is sort of the viral sensation story of the week. So these guys go to sell their Legos. They go to where many people in America go to sell their Legos. This franchise shop called Bricks and Minifigs. And Bricks and Minifigs, you can find them all over the country. They're as I said, they're like franchise Lego stores, right?
Usually well respected. Usually.
Yeah. I think they have a pretty good reputation. People seem to like them in the Lego community.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these people went to go sell their Legos to Bricks and Minifigs, and in the time between when they made delivery of the merchandise and when they received payment for the property, the franchise changed ownership. Something having to do with how the franchise owner's husband needed to leave the country. It didn't sound not shady, I'll say that, but I don't know.
How long did this take to close?
It was not that lengthy, but yeah, it seems like there was. I agree that there was maybe bad malpractice up front. Like maybe we should have been checking in. Maybe we should have been getting the money before.
But the sale of something takes like weeks and months. Like how long does the sale of the Legos take to like hand over the Legos and get the money?
Well, it was a consignment, right? It wasn't an actual sale.
It was a consignment.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a consignment with the store.
Yeah.
And then when the store switched ownerships, the new owners, which was the part of the whole fiasco that we're going to be getting into, just claimed 100% ownership on the collection, which they did not have.
But if they bought the store, aren't they entitled to any consignments that are relegated?
They're
to
entitled
the
to
store?
the consignments, but they didn't treat it as a consignment. They treated it as a complete like
As a
full
sale,
repossession.
like
Yeah,
ownership. Yeah. A
Oh,
repo.
the father and sons thing.
yeah, I think so.
Right. So the new the people who now
Sorry, go
took
ahead.
over-
You go ahead.
the guys who took over Bricks and Minifigs, their position is we own these Legos,
Right.
but they have not given $200,000 to the people who were, consigning their Legos to Bricks and Minifig.
Mhm.
So they get this YouTuber involved. Enter Brian Mansell. What's his nom de guerre? Crazy Brian, lazy Brian, reckless Brian, reckless Brian, reckless Ben. Pardon me. Enter reckless Ben.
This is the Reckless Ben story. Now I know. Okay, go ahead.
So Ben gets involved. He says he's not going to rest until these people get their money that they're owed. He begins, harassing people in a way that YouTubers do for sort of light entertainment on the internet. I would say that nothing he did seemed like it was that out of left field. He did sort of actually seem like he was kind of trying to engage them through the processes mandated by the Utah legal system.
Right.
So, for example, he had to engage them in meaningful conversation before he was allowed to serve them with any kind of paperwork. And then when he did serve them with paperwork, there were rules about who could serve them and in what fashion. And he seemed to have gone through all those processes.
Very routinely, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. And, clearly there's a power dynamic here, and the people who took over the store don't want to pay. They feel like they have property and they don't have to give away money for it, so they're not going to do that. So, they call, their position is they call the police and say they're being harassed by reckless Ben. And so the police stop him at a stoplight and search his car. They say they've gotten a tip that there's heroin in his car. They toss his Airbnb. They say that they've got a tip that actually he's the one that is in possession of $200,000 worth of stolen Legos. They don't find any, and pardon me, Lego enthusiasts, I do have a bad habit of saying Legos. I know that is incorrect. I'm sorry. You can send your hate mail to
What are you supposed to say? Lego pieces?
nerdigo.com.
Don't what?
So they don't find any Lego bricks anywhere in the Airbnb. Then they put out an arrest warrant for Ben. Ben flees to Mexico to try and avoid
he is currently in Mexico, I think.
Salt Lake police. Ben makes the claim that the police are basically being lackeys of these millionaires. Hackers then hack the Salt Lake Police Department and get access to body cam footage that wasn't officially made public, that basically just shows the police taking direct order from the guys that run Bricks and Minifigs. These guys like making up how the law works and telling the police, now go do what I say. And the police are like, yes, sir, we're on it. So yeah, the whole thing has gotten pretty insane from, as we sort of started with, kind of like a confusing case of consignment or sale of this Lego Star Wars Lego collection early on. Things really out of hand now. The CEO, so Ben, as it stands now, as far as I can tell, Reckless Ben has a Patreon where he is putting out all this information. The CEOs of Bricks and Minifigs, not the franchisee, but like the umbrella corporation, wanted Patreon to take his account down to stop so that he would stop getting funded. And the CEO of Patreon put out a video basically saying, go fuck yourself. So big companies on the internet are now getting involved in this.
Again, I'm confused because so the original owner agrees to pay $200,000 for these people's consignment so they can pay for a surgery.
Yes.
The consignment is sent to the store in the time that it takes to arrive at the store. The old owners have sold the place to the new owners, who then take receipt of that consignment and say, great, free Legos, we don't have to pay for these.
Right.
But Bricks and Minifigs corporate, regardless of who the individual franchisee was at the time, are they not still in some way, shape, or form liable? Because the $200,000 is coming either from the former owners or the current owners.
Corporate is backing current ownership and saying, like, this is
corporate has already changed.
$200,000 should have been
a couple days ago.
Oh, pardon me, Bruno. Maybe Bruno.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
So as of a couple of days ago, the CEO of Bricks and Minifigs, Amanda McNiff, has confirmed that the company is ready to sit down with Brian Mansell and his father to not only return the not only returned the collection completely, but then also dropped the lawsuit that the owners was placing against them and Reckless Ben. In addition, they will also effectively immediately shut down that location of Bricks and Minifigs and mutually part ways with the franchise owners, Brandon Best and Joshua Johnson, who are the guys that have been causing this whole fiasco in the first place.
Cool. This will be great. This sounds like it's a perfect solution if it works out.
I mean,
it seems like the solution
$200,000 is nothing compared to the PR hit. So just go ahead.
Well,
and
listen, look, Deepak had faith in the corporate system to resolve it. I was worried, but lo and behold, everything's worked out.
The company also claimed that
good news story.
I am reading straight off of IGN, by the way, in case anybody wants to go look at this up. But the company also claimed that the previous store owner, Crystal Gorman, conducted an unauthorized co-assignment.
I would not be surprised if there was some weird shadiness up front.
But was it actually unauthorized, or are they just saying that now to make it so that they don't pay?
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe they're just saving face. They said that it was an unauthorized consignment due to gross negligence.
Anyway, so if you had seen the phrase like Mormon mafia or like LDS police scandal trending anytime recently, it has probably been because of these stories. Because of course the Utah-based owners of the stores and many members of the Salt Lake Police Department are all members of the Latter-day Saints Church, and so led to.
We are not impugning.
No, I'm simply reporting why this all happened.
Listen,
look, we'll get up in Scientology's grill, but we're not messing with those Mormon lawyers. I'm not trying to bring that heat down on us. But anyways, that's my story from the weird nether realms of the internet today. Any questions about any additional things we want to make sure we hit here?
Just some wild shit, really. Like what is this? Just like a $200,000 theft over Legos.
But here's the thing: they get them, even if they get the collection back, they're not getting the money. So bring it back to the father and son. How are they doing?
Yeah, I think that the big thing, as Bruno mentioned, was that there had been a lawsuit put against them by Bricks and Minifigs. I think to sort of try and put pressure on Ben to stop this campaign.
Right.
I certainly hope that is dropped and that any inconvenience that was posed on them because of this is made right. One of the things that I think people never talk about in these sorts of stories is like, how unfortunate is it that they needed to do this? That like we live in a society where they're like, well, let's get rid of, these like symbolic things that we keep as symbols of the joyful memories we have together. Let's hawk these so that we can live a life of basic necessity together, Father. That seems like it's what we should have to do in 21st century.
I think if you're keeping unopened Legos in a storage room in your house, I think
I think they built them together.
Oh, they were actually used Legos?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because like that's the whole thing with Bricks and Minifigs. They will they'll take in your whole set, they'll take it apart, make sure every piece is accounted for, and then like put it back up as if it's like a refurbished set.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's together. They had built these $200,000 worth of Lego sets together. That's a lot of memories, and it just sucks that felt like they had to get rid of them in order to be taken care of.
No, but I mean, if someone has someone is in need of a surgery to save their life, time is of the essence. This all seems to have taken quite some time. So how is the father or son, whoever it is, doing?
I'm with you. I think everybody is healthy and well at this point.
Okay.
But you're right. I'll do a background.
I do think Reckless Ben set up a GoFundMe for them, right when he joined the situation. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, however we feel about vigilante journalism, and maybe that's a conversation for another day, just because we are going long. But
there's no such thing as journalism is journalism. There's no.
Well, no, I hear you, but like I the idea that like a guy can hop on YouTube and like harass people in order to I sort of just want to make sure we know where the bounds are on that.
Right.
Yeah.
But
it is weird how I don't think I condone everything that he did.
Yeah, right. Like I think he got a good outcome, and I'm happy that it worked. But I'm like, I don't know if this is how the system needs to be operating.
But at the same time, that's why people try to get a platform, right? So that they can. At least I think he's doing it. He's doing it for a good. He's not doing it just to like punch old people in the face and get.
Right.
This is fine.
I completely agree with you. He's a good case. I don't know that he is the norm. But that's what we'll be back here another time, I'm sure, to talk about guys who punch strangers in the face on the pier for money, who are not doing nearly as good a work as this guy was. But in the meantime, as we said, you can probably get our conversation about the back rooms on another episode. If you head over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@nerdigomedia, or our website, nerdigo.com, you'll surely be able to find it there because that's where we keep everything we do. And on our website, nerdigo.com, you can also get written reviews. Our correspondent KB just did a great review on a documentary on PBS about W.E.B. Du Bois that's available now, as well as a review of the new movie I Love Boosters that is in theaters now. Check that out. We really enjoyed the film when we saw it at South by. And yeah, conversation of the back rooms coming soon. Make sure you follow us on social media on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads, where we are at Nerdigo Media on all those platforms. You can get highlights of these shows and more. Keep up with all the stuff we're doing. Before we get out of here, I'm going to hit you with some pop culture recommendations. These are the things we've been watching, reading, eating, playing, or listening to that we've enjoyed lately. We think you might like too. I am not going to start by spotlighting Doomsday Diner, the upcoming video game that you can now wishlist on the Steam store, releasing July 23rd, 2026, in which you fry up hot dogs and shoot them at zombies. The physics on the hot dogs was so baffling I couldn't look away from it for most of my own story. Instead, I'm going to say let's start with Bruno.
Okay. I've been carrying right along with my Spielberg rewatch. Recently did Jurassic Park, which continues to be great as always. I always go back to that one lunch scene in Jurassic Park, which will always strike me like differently every time, because watching it growing up, it was super boring and I just wanted to move right past it. Watching it as an adult, it's probably the best scene in the movie. Yeah. I also just shout out Backrooms. I've already watched it twice. I think everybody should go check it out if they haven't yet. And it's a good time. Twice? I have seen it twice. Get ready for our breakdown of it later this week.
Can't wait. Yeah, gonna have to do that before we get to Disclosure Day later in the week. That we'll also have a big episode around. Deepak, what are you getting up to?
I loved Backshots. It was my favorite movie. It did everything I wanted it to do.
Deepak, that was the porn parody of it.
Did I see the wrong movie?
Oh, the wrong movie again, I think. Yeah.
Stupid. What? My pop culture recommendation is this, which I found in my local comic book store: The Death of Gene DeWolf. It is an old collected edition of Amazing Spider-Man comics from the mid '80s, post Secret Wars. So he still has his black suit. Daredevil has just made an appearance. It's really cool. I just had never heard of it. I just read the back of the cover, and without giving too much away, it basically sounds like the Spider-Man version of The Last Halloween. There is a serial killer on the loose who is killing important legislators and law enforcement officials in New York City. And so Spider-Man, along with, I'm assuming, Daredevil, and I did flip through it. I saw Kingpin does make an appearance. So they're going to try to put a stop to it. Very cool stuff. I'm enjoying it so far.
Good stuff. Jackson.
Yeah, this will be one Riley appreciates. I've been watching a lot of Taskmaster recently.
Hell yeah.
So I've gone through a couple of different seasons now. I'm eager to, I don't know. I'm on a binge. It's happened to me once before where I sort of started watching it and just wouldn't stop. So we'll see how long this one lasts.
Anybody else on the show watch Taskmaster, the outstanding British light entertainment?
I've started the latest season, but I haven't caught up yet. I'm not like caught up. I'm like a couple episodes behind.
My wife and I watched some clips after you told us about it.
It's got a real sense of it. Jack, I don't know if you get like the Tetris effect with Taskmaster, where you'll just be like walking around your house and you're like, empty the dishwasher. You have 30 seconds. Time starts now.
Not yet, but I can imagine it.
Yeah. Let's see. What do I have going on in my life? I feel like I have reported on all the things that I've been engaged with, and I'm just sort of in a holding pattern with them all. I'm still watching Black Sails. I'm still playing 007 First Light. I'm still sort of every once in a while switching back to Forza Horizon 6, which is fun because you also get to sing the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift song because it takes place in Tokyo, so that's good too. So that's a lot of what my pop culture appetite has been like lately. I'm trying to think if there's anything new that's like injected into the fold, but I am looking forward to checking out that Apple TV show that everybody's been talking about. What is it? Something Cove?
I just started watching with my wife last night, Cape Fear on Apple TV, which is also I haven't seen the original with Gregory Peck and Robert Mitchum, but I've seen the Scorsese one from the 90s with De Niro and Nolte.
Right.
And they've done enough to make it kind of like what they did with Presumed Innocent a couple years ago. It's like different enough to make it feel like you're not watching the same thing all over again, and they use like the old music in it too, which is cool. But
That's nice.
Javier Bardem is awesome, so that's like the main reason.
I feel like Bardem is going to be the draw to that for me.
Bardem is so fucking good in this; it's insane.
Hell
I was
yeah.
thinking of Widow's Bay, which is on Apple TV right now.
Oh, with Matthew Reese.
Yep,
I have I've heard good things about that as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
created by Katie Dippold, and first several episodes all directed by Hiro Murai, who won an Emmy for the work on Atlanta. So
Katie Dippold did. I know that name.
oh, let's find out what Katie Dippold did. She is a UCB grad. She worked on Parks and Rec.
That's what it was. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's like supposed to be funny, but also kind of spooky. I often love that vibe. So I imagine by next time I'll be here to talk about Widow's Bay. But until then,
I heard someone talk about Widow's Bay like in the similar vein to Midnight Mass, where like the first couple episodes, you don't know what's happening, whether it's supernatural or not, and then suddenly something goes off.
Yeah, that's sort of
Like
what
Sugar.
Like Sugar.
Yeah, it's another Apple show.
Apple TV having a weird moment. Maybe we'll do an Apple TV special episode soon. Until then, this has been Nerdigo News. Thank you so much for listening. Please make sure you head over to our YouTube channel where you can subscribe, or you go to our website, nerdigo.com, where you can type in your email, and that way you'll never miss a single thing that we do. We also post stuff on social media where you can get us at Nerdigo Media. Thank you so much for supporting the work we do. Thank you to Bruno Meneses for editing and producing this show. And as always, don't forget to tune in next week to hear